just let it go. How's your past? How do you feel? You wake up tossing and turning at night? Just let it go. My name is Dan Paulson. Welcome to the video. This video is being made in response to a comment thread that's since been deleted, but the individual was, I was trying to help somebody actually who had said in the comment thread on a different channel that I understand you're supposed to let it go. And I do that. I try to let it go, but it doesn't go. It just hurts all the time. Things are bothering me. And they got an AI response back from the channel, just to be careful about what you're doing. It's, some canned response that was unhelpful. And then somebody else responded to her that, I think it was a her, whoever the poster was, that if they're having a hard time, then they're doing it wrong. It should be easy to do, that they need to just let it go in an easy way and not difficult. And, those are canned sort of things to say. It wasn't helpful. I didn't respond to that person, but I did see the comment. But I responded to the person, hey, if you want to come to my channel, I'll talk to you about that stuff. Yeah, I've struggled with letting stuff go and you have to take care of it. The person didn't reply to me, but the person who told them to let it go did. They made a big reply back to me, letting me know and copying my stuff, repeating the comment, blocking it out, all that stuff. And I wasn't even talking to that person, but they're trying to scold me for putting more into it. What can you say in cases like that? I don't know what's your life been like? Mine was one of abuse, of brother's suicide, of not being counseled over it, being, whipped, abused physically, and being, told repeatedly, you're damn dumb, you're stupid, you're never going to amount to anything. Running away because life just wasn't okay. It was degrading, belittling, demeaning, just to try and grow up. And being molested and having somebody later tell you, just let it go. Meanwhile, you're hurt. You are hurt. That life's not okay. You can't let it go. And you can't make that other person understand what you have going on. And you can't post that in a comment thread. They won't allow verbiage like that in there. So you have to make a video on your own channel that's not monetized to even get away with saying that stuff. Anyway, this video is for the individual that was asking how you let that stuff go. You probably have a personality type that's introverted and very connected with things, and you have a lot of hurt. And as long as you think about those memories, they're going to be hurtful to even think about. And trying to let them go, you can want them to go, but they don't go. And your brain doesn't work in the way of that other individual, and that other individual doesn't have the awareness to understand that there are differences. They know how their brain works. They could be lying. The things they're saying are just canned sort of things that, it's not very informative. There are memories with emotions, perceptions, the way we perceive them, that get stored away up here, and you recognize them by just remembering them. Just think about it. What happened? How does it make you feel when you think about that memory? That's exactly how it's stored. And unbeknownst to us, it's being a part of the mote in the eye, or the third eye. It's the cluster of perceptions, memories that we perceive life through. That's the third eye. That's the eye we perceive through. It's all of the input from everything coming in that goes into where we perceive, which also couples with our emotions. This third eye is easy to see variations of just in people. You can see, two people with their eyes see the same event. A young couple kissing a little heavily in the park, and one of them thinks, oh, how cute, and the other one thinks, oh, how disgusting. They're both seeing it through their own perception. It's the same event. The problem then is how to perceive it differently, how to change the perception. It's a bad thing. It hurt. And it might be going on right now. So it becomes difficult then. It's not as easy perhaps in a video, and there'd need to be more detail, but you have to be out of the situation. You can't dry off if you're standing in the rain, if you're in a hurtful situation, but then sometimes you're stuck there. I don't have things to balance that other people might have. Anytime in my past I've had to leave and just go, I'm done with this. I don't care. I'm starting fresh. I could do it. There are moms with kids out there that are in positions where they can't do that. They can't just go someplace with it. Yeah, I get that. It's not going to be as easy as some people say and some people think. They either don't have much stored up there, or they have a personality type that just doesn't connect like ours. Or they're narcissists and they just don't care. Yeah, whatever happened, happened. Yeah, it's past in the past. So what? Meanwhile, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe that happened to me. It's years later, but you're still stuck going, oh my gosh, you can't let it go. Well, they can. And it's a burden that you're going to have to bear. And they don't get that. All right. So you have to find a few people that do understand that. The people that are like us. It'll be a brain type there'll be something similar about our brain types that make it this way. All right. Letting it go is a matter of taking the memory and the perception of it and looking at it in your mind from your higher awareness. Your higher awareness is where you can get mentally where you are not residing in your memories. You're outside of your memories. You're looking at it going, okay, boy, life is all that crazy stuff down there. This is where you need to be to address the memories. So you're connecting with your higher awareness and then looking at a memory and trying to see it from that higher awareness and not from within the experience itself. Keep yourself outside of the experience looking at it so you can see it from an objective perspective. At the same time, you're going to be feeling the emotions of it. Know that that's going to happen and know that that's okay, that those emotions are there and you've been denying them. And as you feel them and experience them and accept them, they will cease that intensity. They'll start diminishing. But you have to allow them. You have to allow yourself to feel them. They've actually been residing in us as something that started out smaller, but we don't look at it. We don't like it. When we do think about it, we think poorly of it. That adds strength to it every time. That fertilizes it every time. Every time it acts out, every time something emerges again, that thing that started out small gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then as long as we don't look at it, it's going to keep doing that. We're actually the ones, by refusing to look at it and hating it, that are creating it that way through that very thought process right there. This is a difficult one, and I don't think everybody can do it, depending on the nature of what you have to look at. But you have to go turn and look at that memory. Like I stated before, you have to bring it up, only instead of going, God, I hate this thing, you have to sit with the higher awareness detached from it and bring it up and look at it and see it from a different perspective. Look at yourself, look at the person, look at the person's life, look at the person's life before them, before, grandma, grandpa, on and on and on. There's a lineage that happens. This person didn't just emerge out of nowhere. They emerged in a link, a wave. And we're in that wave. And the more you recognize things like that mentally, the more you find it easier to separate yourself from what happened to you. But you have to spend time doing that. Practice that, getting outside of your memories and looking at it and saying, yeah, those are my memories. They are not me. You see the mother that is spanking the child in the grocery cart and the child is wailing, and you think, first, that's a horrible mother who shouldn't have a child. But later on, you realize that's a mother who's doing to her child what happened to her when she was a child. This is a wave of things going on. You begin to see the bigger picture. So for me, then, I just kind of sit and reason through, well, you know what? We all come from that. We're all coming from a pool down there of this mass of humanity, emerging. Who emerges from up above it? If you stay connected in there and you look at it and you keep holding on to a small perception down there, you're going to remain there. You have to get out here and look at planet Earth from space in your imagination, of course. Look at the big picture. Look at things going on. The more you see, the more you can disconnect from being small. You realize how big and vast you are, but you have to get up here into the higher awareness to experience that, and you have to begin resolving. Get out of the situations you're in and resolve the unresolved stuff you're dragging with you. And then make changes along the way. Because if you're making significant changes up here in your mind, in your perceptions and healing, You're going to probably cease to fit in the environment that you're in and with your friends. The more you change, birds of a feather flock together. We fit because we trigger together. When you're not there to trigger anymore, you might go, you know what? I don't need this anymore. I don't need this experience. I'm finished with it. I want to grow. It's going to be, there's so many difficult things. It's fraught with many difficult stages along the way. It's not an easy path. All right. So again, those are all products of the mental healing. When you resolve the issues up here, then life changes. That's in the material. Jesus is, gift at the altar, resolve the ought, boom. It just happens then. Your life changes. So we're told there that is exactly what to do. So there's many ways you're trying to look at the situation. You might have to talk to the person to resolve it. You might have to ask for forgiveness. You might have to give forgiveness. There's whatever the manner is, you have to look at your memory and how you're holding it and say, how do I resolve how I'm holding it? What do I have available to me? That's what I have to do. Resolve that. If I pull up that memory and I feel shame or hatred or anger, I have to figure out a way to make it so that that is no longer there. Whatever that takes. It's going to be different for different people. They're going to have different tools, different experiences. But you're always going to use the mind to do it. The mind wired it. The mind has to unwire it. It's a program in your mind that is stored in there that was programmed through thought process that is left unresolved. It's a program in place. You go back and find that program and you have to reprogram it. You have to rethink it. Is what you have to do. And that can be difficult when you really feel like you've been abused and battered and all that. And when you have been physically, it is difficult to understand that, hey, I get an opportunity here at life. What am I going to do with it? How am I going to react and respond? What do I want to hang on to? And then, you can say that'll elevate you up, but you still have to, you'll find that those issues, they're difficult to resolve. If you can resolve them quickly, sometimes you can ask for forgiveness and, okay, I forgive you. It's all done. Other times, like, oh God, this happened long ago. The person that it happened with is long dead. I never did get it resolved. Something different has to come into play, doesn't it? You can't just do it all the same. So you have to work it out yourself. But one thing that is important, if you can do this, and it's hard to do, if you can find a person you trust to talk it out with, that can be difficult. What do you have to resolve? You need a person you can trust. And there's times I would want to talk to somebody and I would think, how do I know that it's going to be okay? I feel so horrific. And what I would do is always put myself in their shoes. I would think, what if I was them? Or what if they had the issue that I had and they came up to me and said, hey, I want to talk to you. I want to unload it. And they were unloading exactly what you have. How would you handle it? And I would think, you know what, my friends would handle it the same way. And so that was helpful. But there was still, when you're talking out issues that are very buried, if you talk them out the first time, oh my God, is there a difficult barrier there? Make sure if you have high blood pressure, you've had your heart medicine. It can be fearful to face those things and talk them out. But once you do, you're like, that barrier's gone. You're the one creating that barrier, that fear barrier. And that fear barrier is an evolutionary fear. How strong does it feel? Well, sometimes like you're about ready to get eaten by the lion. You're not. We're all going through the same things, but we hide inside our shells. And we're taught in society to do that. Shut up. Tough it out. Suck it up, sunshine. All that stuff. I've tried to talk out things with people before who said, God, get away from me, you creep. What the hell's the matter with you? Let it go. God, what are you, a girl? Yeah, and you're just trying to resolve issues. You can be in a world of really people that it's difficult for us to function. We got to find each other. We do have to resolve things. We do. They don't. What do you see? What do you prefer? I prefer to live like, well, I'm stuck in this brain, so I have to, what? Clean out the cobwebs, yeah. Weed the garden, destroy Sodom, flood the world, you name it. Forgive the odd against my brother, remove the mote from my eye. They're all the same thing. Big stories, little verses, big books, same thing. All right, well, I hope this is helpful. ask questions if you see it. If you have any questions or comments or want to add to it or want me to address anything specifically, I'm giving opinions here based on my life experiences and based on interacting with the material here. So that's my perspective. I don't have a degree hanging on the wall, but I don't think anybody with a degree hanging on the wall knows how to interpret this material either. So it took something different to get here. It is a healing process, a psychological process that we would know of today. But that higher awareness area, we have to know we're there. If you go to a psychologist, they're playing that role right there. You can do it yourself. Oh, my higher awareness, I see. My consciousness can get here. When you're tossing and turning at night and you're mixed up in the turmoil, and every once in a while a voice comes in that's quiet and peaceful and tells you, you got to go to sleep. You're not going to do anything tonight. And if you stop and observe while you're there, you're going to be up. Might as well spend some time doing some thinking. When that voice is talking, stop and stay with it. Don't leave it and get sucked back into the memory. Stay there, and you will realize that the emotions of the memories, you're not feeling them. You cannot simultaneously be living within the emotions and within the higher awareness. Although you can be in the higher awareness and pull the memory up to the consciousness, you can't go from the memory and you have to step out to the higher awareness. You have to know that higher awareness is there. That is the way to look at the memories. You have to be in a mental perspective that's going to help you overcome your own natural fear. Anyway, those are things that would take, deeper dive videos on their own. This one really was more of no, there is not a one size fits all with respect to this. And if you interpret material from antiquity, you will find that every hero's journey, the hero with 1,000 faces, is exactly this path of going in and defeating the enemy within. Every one of them. Every one of them. That'd be a pretty short story if you just said, you know what? We're going to ignore the bad guys. No, we're done. That's it. They're not there anymore. Well, you leave them in the cave and never turn inward. Or, yeah. You know what that would mean in a story? Like in a Greek myth, the Argonautica, they would stop short of sailing through the clashing rocks. Exodus, they would stop short of going through the Red Sea. The adventure quits right there. They don't go after it. They don't cross the threshold. They don't turn inward to the memories. Yeah, that's what the story would be like if you just forget about it. And it's difficult. I mean, if people let things go naturally, they don't have to do this. But that's the way brains work. You're going to have, when you clear out the mote from your eye, you're going to see more. You're going to experience more. You're going to understand and know more than the people around you. Your awareness of what's going on, your spatial awareness, is going to be much larger. And things that happen like, oh, that's magic. Oh, look at that. That's magic. What's going on? Will be happening all the time. And it's because that's natural. The more you rectify things, the more that happens. Okay, so as we go through the material, what we see is that if we read through a monomyth like Genesis, what happens? That's a human life cycle. God disappears right after Canaan. I meant Cain and Abel. That signifies the idea that we're now living life and we're no longer connected with the higher awareness. That's what is our true self. But we didn't have the cognition to know that. Later on in life, when it's time to turn inward to heal things, when does God show up? When it's time to call Noah. God's been gone that whole time. That signifies we are Noah, now turning inward, reconnecting with the higher self and ready to turn inward. That's wired into this story. We'll see it with Abram and Sarai down to Abraham and Sarah too. He puts them in a land of famine and he appears when he calls. Yeah, okay. So anyway, when we interpret these, what we understand is that this higher awareness is very key for us to learn and to get to. If when you're sitting there, like at night, and you keep slipping into the memories, if you can get into that spot where there's no thinking, you get into that higher awareness, there's not a dialogue really going on, is there? You sit there in quiet. It's just quiet. But you're not frazzled there. If you just sit there and stay there like that, that's the objective of meditation, to get to that place. You'll find you keep slipping back into the memories. Do what you can to remember to stay there. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Become the observer. Whoop. The more you practice it, the more it will become a part of you. It's like anything. The more you apply attention to something, the bigger it becomes as a part of our life. Same here. And honestly, sitting at the right hand of God is that right there. When you're sitting there going, I am not experiencing my memories, my fears, no desires here. Yeah, that's sitting at the right hand of God. We don't live from there, though. We go off and live physical lives, and that's okay. We just want them to be positive and not negative. And we want to be able to always be here from this higher self and understand that we're part of a flow in the physical world and that we want to step above that. And that it's really important to let go of things, because if we don't step above it. So we really have to get on the other side of our victim status. We have to really get we have to really get up above it and see that we're just the next link in a chain. That's it. Nobody had us to do that. We're just the next link in a chain. We got lucky. Yeah. Try to think of it that way. You're the lucky one. You get to escape, but it's going to take some work. And the work is emotionally difficult. Yeah, it is. But those are my thoughts on it. Anyway, okay, I better end this. See you in the next video.